and the number of frag grenades being tossed around left and right, it was nice to be able to see the coordination of teams who could operate with those frag grenade operators. So first of all, frag grenade operators aren't always your first picks. You know, you have Buck for a lot of vertical destruction, but sometimes you'll swap them out for someone else. Sledge has nades, IQ has nades, and IQ's been kind of wedged into the meta by all the electronics being brought out with new ops. But the coordination between being able to drone, keep your drone hidden, have an enemy located, and be able to lock him down in a corner long enough to get that grenade to land on him with knowing that there's no ADS. It was a nice demonstration of coordination for the teams to see.
And having no ADS is a pretty significant, it's more significant a change to defensive setups than a lot of people would at first think. Because with ADSs down, you suddenly can't defend against grenades thrown behind, say, mirror windows or into corners or any standard hiding spot that would normally have an ADS behind it. You can't. It's much harder to hide bandit batteries if there's no ADS, so a grenade can easily just pop around a wall, take out the bandit batteries, and suddenly your Hibana's free to go off and open up whatever wall she wants. So there are a lot of different reasons why Jaeger actually changes up defensive holds quite a bit. Not quite as drastically as a mirror ban would, but it's still a pretty strong ban. And I do want to go back to the mirror ban because she's one of those operators that's not really overpowered either. She's just the only one who does what she does, and so she's picked a lot. It's sort of like if there was only one hard breach, the hard breach operator wouldn't necessarily be overpowered, they would just be picked every time because no one else could.
I'm also pretty excited to see that we don't have a Maestro being banned out, and being able to see the combination of Echo, Maestro, and Mira all used downstairs on Oregon. When I think of Maestro, the first thing I think of is stopping that smoke plant on Oregon basement. Same thing with border takes on the A wall, being able to stop those out, being able to see through the smoke, being able to zap with the evil eye. Just being able to stall out plants more, because we've seen the effectiveness of smoke plants in the last 2 seasons be overwhelming. And I don't want to say overpowered, but very, very strong nonetheless. And it's nice to see finally there's a hard counter to it. And Oregon is the first place I think of that it'll come out to play.
Yeah, and I think some teams have even been starting to use the smoke plant as a crutch, but Throw gets the first kill on the mid. That's going to be the first kill of the series on the board in favor of the Nomads. First blood there. Now they're still contesting angles across the tower. Throw is still in here. Just manages to get out with his life. A very small amount of his life, but still his life nonetheless. And that is going to be a win for him. A 1-for-0 Drake.
Ooh, Maestro taking a lot of shots, and that's Mailman re-peeking up through the box hatch into meeting room. Naga taking some damage in reciprocation, but nothing too lethal. And the big thing about Throw being able to get back to site is he can be reset back to 50 as he will now. He gets injured, he'll get picked back up by his teammates, and that's a Nitro Cell on the board as well to stop any kind of plant coming out late round. Still 80 seconds left on the board, but Yaga's just going to go for it. He takes down Mailman, dropping down the hallway hatch, using those stuns in coordination with CryoGem. Will try to back out with the Vector. 2 stacked up in the boxes now. The flank coming from Throw down the main hallway, and Throw's going to get 1, but he's staying underneath the box hatch. There's a second one in. Nitro Cell goes out, not going to land. Dot Dash going to trade it right back, and now an aggressive peek from Cali. Bearing Knight in hand. He has 3 more to find. Sweater takes down 1. It's now do a 1v2. Euphoria and CryoGen, the smoke in the mirror, the anchor's on site. Euphoria rotates back over to the island, and CryoGen holding inside a closet. Sweater going to be slowing things down. Wanted to go for a drone. He's going to think better of it and move into box to grab Diffuser. He's able to spot CryoGem with a wonderful shot, takes his head clean off, and now it's down to a 1v1. Still 100 HP on either side, and Euphoria has 3 smoke grenades in hand. Pulling out a frag grenade is Sweater to launch it down the main hallway. It's going to land just to the left of Euphoria, hops on the island to evade. And now using that sound cover, Sweater was thinking about going for it inside of supply room to go for the plant. He's going to launch out another frag grenade. Euphoria looking for it this time. He's going to launch it in towards the laundry rotate, keeping Euphoria at bay. Sweater now going to be going for the aggressive peek. He lands shots on the shoulders, but not on the head, and Sweater will fall. Euphoria wins it for Nomads, as Sweater tried to win that 1v3 and came very, very close.
You mentioned trying to use sound cover, and I'm actually surprised that fewer teams use sound cover as you would think. The fact that you can hide a bomb plant noise, or sorry, diffuser plant noise, or anything like that behind explosions is pretty strong. She could have easily tossed a frag grenade out without much of its fuse burned, rotated over into the back of the B bomb site, and plant the diffuser there and force Smoke to come challenge her. But unfortunately, he didn't end up doing that, so Nomads managed to take that first round there. And I think overall, Disrupt have been playing a little bit unpredictably, but some of those aggressive angles that they were peaking just didn't quite work out for them. And it's a little unfortunate, but Disrupt have been playing pretty fast, and I think we might see them slow it down a little bit after that last round.
2 6-picks on the board for round number 2. Thermite from a Habana and a Maestro getting 6-picked in. I don't think that's too surprising. The number of times we'll probably see Maestro on Oregon this evening, possibly border and coastline if we get that far. Can't remember what they swapped off of. It might have been a castle or a mute. Can't remember what they swapped off to take that Maestro, but he's going to be pretty evident very early on as soon as anyone gets a drone near sight. The setup topside, I mean, it's been pretty standard. I mean, again, having that full utilization of the Maestro, the Mira. No Echo on the board this time. They're going to stay away from that, as the Echo drones weren't really in a position to prepare for that back push that Disrupt were bringing. They're all prepared for the front, and yet everyone started taking 1v1s downstairs for Disrupt. There's 80 seconds left, and I think it was Yaga on the Zofia dropped hallway hatch, and he could have actually picked up a couple more but the trades come out. I was very surprised by that instant drop without any cover really for Yaga. Just dropping the hallway hatch. No one really in sight to help him. Nobody was really even in box to go for the trade out if he died. He went for a 1-for-1 and was able to pick off the Maestro.
Yeah, it was a pretty unexpected play, and I think that's the main reason that it worked as well as it did. Was just the unexpected factor. If anyone had been... Ooh, Nip already getting a pick on the throw. That's 30 seconds into the round, and that's the pulse off the board too, so they're not going to be able to play downstairs from kitchen quite as well. Meanwhile, Disrupt getting a pretty decent amount of control over the first floor, which is very strong in this site. They don't really have too much soft breach for the floor. They have a Zofia with their impact grenade launcher, but they don't have a Buck or a Jackal with a shotgun to break open those floors. They might not need it, however. Sweater goes for an E1D, however, Cryogen picks up AXO on the other side of the map. They weren't able to do anything with the E1D, and so now the game slows down once again.
So 2 very important frags for the simple utility that's lost very early on. The 2 frag grenades from EXO being lost early, and then the Nitro Self and Throw as well being negated on early picks. And I think it was just a bad rotation. Dash and Cryogen trading shots back and forth through that long angle towards the opening of dorms. And both of those operators being off the board is huge, just for that lethality of their utility at range. They don't have to be in close proximity, really, to have a great effect. Euphoria, somehow not stunned. Okay, just inside a dorm's room. Completely fine, no issues. Second stun canister coming in. You got 3 people all stacked inside of dorm. Sweater able to land the first shot, but Euphoria gonna trade it back with the SMG-11. Wonderful shot, only a pixel angle from inside dorms. So have one holding big window. That's Yaga on the Zofia, rotated from down outside of Kid, spraying with the Vector. He's able to down off Dot Dash. This diffuser lost hallway. No one in position to go for the recovery, but coming up white is Nip. He's able to trade out the Mirror. Grab 2. That's Mailman down. It's all to Euphoria now. And a 1v3, technically 2, as Dot Dash has been downed in the hallway. That's diffuser as well. 40 seconds on the board. The smoke canister going to be going out. Now the hop in coming from Yaga, and he's going to land that shot. Euphoria not hitting the pre-fire when he heard the vault in. And DG going to take round number 2.
Big kills there by Nip, and he was holding a very strong angle too. They spotted the fact that Mirror was playing up here right in front of the stairway, and so he managed to sneak up behind him while he was distracted, taking out the, I think, Dot Dash and dropping him down. So very good play by him, and good angle holding by Disrupt, basically. And so one thing I wanted to talk about that I thought of was, I don't see a lot of teams, and I think this could be very strong, so if you're a coach or you're a player and your coach isn't doing this, tell them, let them know. But I think you can, since sites aren't revealed during the reveal phase, you can fake what site you're going for with your operators and then 6-pick off of it in order to force them to 6-pick onto a site that they think that you're going for. So I don't see a lot of teams doing that, but say if you're on defense and, well, there's no Mira, even though you're playing on Oregon, then, you know, you definitely won't be playing laundry room there. You can take it out by picking laundry room and trying to go for something like that. So I think there are some opportunities that teams can utilize with that sort of strategy there. So
yeah, I think with 6 pick, I think with the full reveal in prep, I think with everything that's become new in this whole competitive setup that we have going on here, everything hasn't really been sorted out yet. This is still very new. We've played in a very rigid, very stunted system for about 2 years now. And now we're finally getting into some changes, some different techniques being used, and there's a lot more to competitive Siege now. And I think the further we go along, we're going to see more patterns arise, but for right now, it's whatever you can think of that, okay, spawn peek coming up from the shower's window, as EXO has his electronic detector about a mile away from the building. But it's checking for Valk cams. No Valkyrie on the board, as the Frost was 6 picked off, but to a Pulse instead of a Valkyrie. Like I was saying, very early on here, we're going to see a lot of strange things that we might never see again, or we're going to be seeing the beginning of the creation of what our new pattern is, or what our new normal is, what our new expected eventuality is going to be. And something I wanted to see more of is the frag grenade usage of Jaeger on the board.
Yeah, bans are definitely changing things up quite a bit. And I mentioned this during the last series when it happened, but I think using Frost either as someone to switch to, .tg taking out Cryogen with a headshot first of the round, 1 minute in, Mailman taking it back, taking kill onto EXO, that is the Legion killing the IQ. So IQ is not going to be able to spot out some of those Legion traps. And as you said before, they're using both of those frag grenades as well, and the only frag grenades that Disrupt have, so the lack of ADSs aren't going to be able to benefit as much as they would otherwise. Or benefit the offense as much as they would otherwise. And so one thing I was about to mention was that I think Frost switching to or switching off of that as a 6th pick is a little bit of a waste, because there's no operator that you pick because there's a Frost. And in the same coin, if you don't see Frost and suddenly there is a Frost, you're not really hurting for anything, right? You drone that out and suddenly, oh, let's just look down whenever we go through a doorway, or drone out all of the Frost traps. So I think there are some missed opportunities in a lot of these games that we're seeing with the 6th pick. We have an aggressive peek by Yogg. He gets 2, and Euphoria trades him out, but that was still very well worth it. Sweater takes out Euphoria as well, and one last kill. Dash gets the headshot, and that was a very fast execute by Disrupt, but they did it beautifully.
Yeah, I don't... I think we had just passed the midway point in the round. We were still going over, you know, typical analyst stuff. It's a 4v4, everything's fine. And then the round ends. And that's DG in a nutshell for you.
Yaga just goes in for it. That was definitely unexpected. Nomads had no idea it was coming, and it got 2 picks before it was traded out. The fact that 2 members were playing on the stair side over there, which is a pretty... I do sort of like that spot for Mira, but I think it's definitely gotten quite predictable, and Nomads have to watch out for that at this point, because 2 times now Disrupt have gotten a kill, or that time even 2 kills, because they knew that Nomads was focusing so heavily on that Mira near the top of the stairs.
Cryo having a little trouble thinking about who he wants to 6 pick to. So he's going to 6 off the Bandit, faked Echo, and then went Ella. I can see... Yeah, I can see... I can see the desire to bring like an Ella and a Legion just because of the 2 successful rounds DG have had back-to-back. It's been very aggressive both times. It's been, like I said, a little past the midway mark in the round, and then round's over. And it looks like it's going to continue on for a very long time. It looks like it's going to go the full at least 2.5 minutes, and then everyone jumps in, trades out, grabs some kills. It's insane. It's actually insane how quickly DG are getting in. So I feel for Nomads, and I understand this pick to go from the Bandit to the Ella, especially bringing a Legion in tandem, and also they brought a Thatcher every single round. They're bringing the same 5 basically every single round with a slight alteration here or there. But for the most part, Disruptor keeping their same 5. If that's got a Thatcher involved, the Bandit's not going to do a whole lot. You can't Bandit trick the closet and expect to survive.
Yeah, that's a very common place that, because there's a window right next to Attic that has a perfect line of sight on that sort of bandit tricking location, so that's definitely a death sentence if anyone tries to do that. And one thing that I actually mentioned earlier in a different game, going off of something you said, was that a lot of times teams will... there are sort of two things that teams can do as it gets later on in the round. Either you can use your time to like over set up your execute and have just a perfect execute and execute at the last like 20 seconds of a round, or you can play a little bit more aggressive with your time around the halfway point. He sees the head, doesn't quite get it. Or you can play a little bit aggressive and get some early picks. If you don't get the early picks, then the enemy doesn't quite know where you're executing from. And if you're executing correctly and you're spending all that time setting up, you have the angles for the rotates. So when you get the first kill, the enemy team is going to try to rotate, use their resources, go over to wherever that kill happened. But if you're covering the angles, that can be very strong. So in some cases, it might favor a team to wait until the last second and play really fast. Disrupt, on the other hand, that for a couple of rounds, they decided, we can do that, but do it when there's a minute left anyway. And, you know, why not? It catches Nomads off guard, and it definitely did. E1D goes down, so they do spot out someone playing in kids' dorms. I believe that'll be one of the SAS brothers there. And he's going to be held the angled throw, actually, coming around behind EXO, trying to sneak up behind tower. Manages to pick up one. Looking for a second, as Sweater is just trying to freak him out over here. Euphoria picks up Nip. Cryogen gets another kill onto Yaga, and Nomads are very strong right now. 5v1, and Sweater is just barely going to get that kill. Has to pop in. Is getting ticked down more and more. Gets a second kill. Has to exit and make sure he gets the Legion. But that's leaving us with a 1v3, which is still a very tough situation with 30 seconds left on the board. Never mind. Euphoria gets the kill very quickly right after I said that through this pretty strong peephole right here through the floor. And there it is. A very powerful shotgun.
Yeah, absolutely. DG changing things up a little bit, and when you're being so successful, and I mean, you can't really play on that aggressive run-in every single time. However, you were very successful on a master take. Everything was fine. Everything was going well. You had man advantage basically the entire round. Now you try and swap things up and go for a tower and dorms windows take. Okay, but why? Everything was working fine before. Nomads didn't make any significant changes to their hold. Why? Why? I don't really know why this is happening. But nonetheless, DG gonna finish out their first half. Just trying to figure out what's going on in chat, but I think we're all good. Question mark? Not exactly sure.
Caviera.
Yeah, and Male taking Cav.
That's a pick we hardly ever see. So, teams like this will be very proactive with droning, and so it's very, very difficult to play Caviera, and even harder to get any, to get her, basically. It's not a gadget, it's her special superpower or whatever, to make some really heavily trained agents give up the positions of all of their operators. Even though Caviera's MO is to kill them afterward anyway, they still give up that information. So, good droning is going to be able to spot out most of that, and on top of that, Caviera's guns aren't very good. Like, she's got a good pistol in terms of, like, pistol rankings, but you still would rather have an automatic weapon, and her automatic weapon's pretty bad.
Sorry, I'm just reading through everything on chat, trying to make sure everything's okay, but nonetheless, like I said, slight alterations in the DG lineup, so they take the bonus of the Thermite and take the Ying instead of a Lion, but other than that, same three core operators. Soft Destruction, the Grenades, and the Thatcher. Dog opening up a very tight angle in towards stage from garage, and no mirror on the board while defending downstairs. Interesting decision by Nomads. Mailman, I don't know how effective this Cav's going to be. It looks like the roam game from Nomads is spread out very far and wide across the map. That's just coming out. Go ahead.
You might not know that there's a Cav yet. Throw gets one onto EXO, because the Cav was the 6th pick, and he's playing pretty conservatively so far. However, a single drone could potentially just wreck Caviera's entire day. Again, her gun is not very good, so it's going to be tough for her to get a kill if someone knows she's there. Throw managing to take out Nip. There's the silent step, so I'm gonna see if she can rotate around to try to do anything in toward the meeting hall. But actually, he just gets spotted out immediately, and Sweater gets 2 actually, both headshots as he peeks around corners very, very quickly, and that evens it up 3-3. Disrupt are taking it back into their favor, and they still have pretty much everything almost everything they need to execute. They would want some Yin Candelas on the board, but you still have a decent amount of frag grenades, 2 still left. You have all of your Hibana X pellets, and you also have concussion grenades from Yaga.
I'm going to commend Cryo for the patience to not immediately shoot that punch hole, but it was loaded a little too early there. The concussion mines coming out, but an aggressive peek from inside supply room. It's actually going to down Cryo as he escapes back to safety. The last stun grenade coming in, and Yaga's going to drop the hallway hatch once again. Looks hallway, takes down Euphoria. That's the smoke off the board. Finishes out Cryogen. Now it's all down to Cali. He falls to Sweater, who gets a 3K on the round, and DJ are going to take the first half, 3-2.
Yeah, obviously we can't really blame that loss on Caviera, but it definitely didn't help either. Especially on Oregon too. It's so weird that you would play Caviera on Oregon because when you're holding Laundry, it is very easy if the attackers are doing a lobby take for them to cover every angle with their eyes. So they don't even have to worry. They don't even have to worry about the silent step. They don't have to hear you coming. They can see both meeting hall and toward kitchen. Those are only 2 angles that they really need to hold. Maybe have one upstairs, but a drone could cover that incredibly easily and give everyone enough time to rotate over. So overall, I don't think there's just no real rhyme or reason to that pick, in my honest opinion.
Yeah, the Cav didn't really help a lot, didn't bring a lot to the table. Didn't do any damage to anyone, didn't distract anyone because she never got droned out. Sweater was just pre-aiming the angle in towards kitchen, and Sweater also having a heck of a game. Exo, I'll give him credit for having 7 dimes, so he's actually landing a lot of damage onto people, especially for not playing a Twitch in the old days. But still hasn't gotten on the board with a frag yet. Again, playing the support-ish operator. I mean, he was playing IQ for the majority of his attacking rounds, and then they swap some roles around. Sent Sweater back, but 7 assists, no kills, a little slow.
We see a tower defense.
Oh yeah.
I have not seen in an incredibly long time, so this is going to be a very interesting one. They have a couple, let's see, they have 1 ACOG on Nip, so they're going to be able to defend a couple of long range, but all of tower is honestly just a kill box, so this is going to be a very difficult defense. They have to have something really practiced in order to have any success with it at all, basically. And of course, you have the classic spot near the, it's not a patio, it's about balcony sort of thing, where you can see through the bottom of it and get picks from there to anyone playing on the first floor near A. So what are your thoughts?
I'm not really actually all that surprised. This is the team that decides to go bathrooms tellers as a primary on border. DG just kind of do like whatever the hell they want, and they make it work somehow. I'm done questioning it. We're just going to watch and have some fun. Because, yeah, there's no real trying to predict what they're going to do. They're a very spontaneous team, and it works out for them. They make it work. They're very on-the-fly players, and I give them full marks for it at this point. I'm done questioning it. Stacked outside of tower right now currently is Cryo. There's typically a mirror there, and that's mostly why Sweater the Valkyrie with Prelude skin coming down the tower stairs is going to get lit up through that shredded half-destructible wall. A peek from Garage. Cryo with a flick onto Yaga to save his own life, but his teammate in Cali, the Thermite, will fall. It's down to a 3v4, so Nomads still have the man advantage, and Cryo still taking full advantage of this angle as much as possible. He's battling with the mirror, and that's going to be a very hard shot for Dash to hit from behind that mirror all the way through the slot in the bottom of the floor. But now you've got the IQ of Throw peeking the other stage door. And they're going to swap windows. This time Cryo's going to go for the rappel up, and now Throw's going to hold the angle. Yeah, for half a second, he's going to go back to the other door now. He can't make up his mind where he wants to go, and that's very typical seeing teams trying to attack onto sites like Tower. Just the very weird sites themselves. You don't really practice attacking Tower over and over again. You don't scrim it out every single day. You don't play it in ranked every single day. It's a very new thing you have to be very conscientious of and try and make things up on the fly for the attack, and it's super difficult. It can stall out rounds for a very long time if you're not accustomed and not well versed in attacking the site.
I'm surprised Nomads aren't challenging the top floor of tower from multiple different angles, because there are a couple of windows that you can basically go in through, and they haven't really been focused on that at all. And it's usually a pretty easy kill for whoever, for whatever attacker goes up there, since there's really no cover for a defender to hide behind up there. But it looks like they are foregoing that strategy, and with 30 seconds left, this might actually be starting to head toward Disrupt's favor. The extra unpredictability of heading toward a tower site, and Nomads are still not really in any position to execute. EXO takes out the throw. That is some frag grenades down once again. Euphoria is on the other side. He's trying to take control of Meeting Hall. He does see one, gets the kill with a headshot. That's Dot Dash going down. 10 seconds left though, and Disrupt still have 2 left on the board, 2 of the great clutch characters as well. With the MP, or with the Vector, EXO takes 1, Nip gets another kill, and that's 1 left. There is not enough time to plant, and that is going to be Disrupt taking the victory on their first defense in Tower of all places. Looks like you were right.
It stalls out, man. It stalls you
Apparently.
out as an attacking team because you're so used to drone pathing for a downstairs defense or an upstairs defense or possibly even a kitchen defense. Now that we have this new 3-site rotation, if you win 2 consecutive defenses, you're starting to get a little more used to kitchen on Oregon. Tower, for the longest time, was the meme site, I think. And someone's going to correct me because I don't get this 100% right all the time, but I believe Flipside in year 1, season 3 ran a tower defense because they were Flipside, and that's just what they did. I believe they lost the defense, but it came down to like a 1v1. I can't remember who it was against for the life of me, but that was like the first time we ever really saw a tower defense in the Pro League, and everyone lost their minds. And then we saw it again last year, and everyone lost their minds again. It's this very sporadic site that does not get played. It was called the biggest meme for a very long time, and that's why teams don't practice attacking it, because it was considered that for so long. But now teams are having to adapt and defend new sites because of this new rotation parameter. It's the way the game evolves, man. And if you can't speed up your attacks there, like we saw, I think it was Cryo and Throw, the Ash and the IQ, just running circles and holding that angle underneath the slit of the door for 2 minutes or so, about 1:30, 2 minutes. They didn't know what to do. They don't know where to go. They don't know how to attack it as a team. They're all just trying to do their own little thing. Time is against you, man. You got 3 minutes to execute.
Yeah, holding that angle under the door would be fine if someone else on their team did anything with it. Like, I think the play there for the IGL is to basically have someone hold that angle there and have a couple of people challenge. This is a very early peak. Have a couple people rappel up to the top, like the 3rd floor of tower, and challenge those angles way up there, and have someone basically watch for runouts. It is, I think, the main call there, because it's... I realize that it's something to keep your enemies off guard, but tower is a bomb site where both rooms are next to so many windows, and there's only one direction that people can rotate in or out of it. So I feel like running out of time on a tower offense is pretty difficult. But hey, you know what? It's got a 100% win rate now, so what do I know?
We saw the early peek from Sweater coming up the main stairs, and now EXO just tapped the classroom wall. He's going to rotate all the way to Garage, and he's going to get trunked out by Cryo, who was inside a classroom. Unfortunately, the Valcam unable to spot, or default. The shot default. I don't know if there was actually a Valcam main lobby. I know they threw one down. Yeah, there it is, the top of the stairs. Just unable to spot Cryo heading into classroom. So EXO, they lose another Nitro early. And that's that IQ. IQ's going to find, or Cryo, sorry, is going to find the Valkyrie cams. Pushing down the stairs solo right now. Has frag grenades in hand. Can start clearing barbed wire. And they kind of other pre-placed devices like Legion Mines or Ella Traps. Mailman going to take down Nip in the back. That's the mirror, so that's both Nitro cells off the board. The frag grenade's going to bounce back. Not sure if that was intentional or not. He's going to launch it into the closet right beside the smoke of Dot Dash. And he's going to survive. Evades the distance. Sweater going to grab Callie. Throw going to trade it out onto Sweater. Now it's down to a 2v4. Dot Dash and Yaga. Yaga offsite coming for the flank in behind Kitchen. This looks like he heard one flanking into Meeting, and Dot Dash is alone on site dealing with a back push. Diffuser is down inside of Blue. They can hold it for now. A drop in a box right into a smoke grenade. The push coming hallways. The drone will spot him out. Dot Dash has to back off to safety. Losing ammo on the SMG-11 on the pre-fires. Yaga going to grab Euphoria upstairs, though. Pushing into Meeting. So the Habana takes down Mailman down to a 2v2. Throw now having to come back upstairs. The pre-fire around the corner to the closet, though, and Cryo will claim the closet mirror. Now it's going to be the retake throw. And shut down Yog as he tried to go hallway hatch and meeting. And that'll be Nomads taking round number 7.
It only stalled out the offense for a little bit, but I do like how a lot of times you can see Mira windows stall people out even if there's no one behind it. Because for the longest time, Disrupt didn't even have someone playing that Mira window down there. Yet, Nomads, I think it was Cryogen on the IQ, was still preoccupied throwing grenades. The first grenade was before Dash even got there. It's pretty interesting to see those sort of mind games possible with Mira, where you don't even have to have someone play it, and you might be able to keep control over a room because of it. But we do see some more Maestro being played, and I'm actually surprised that even in our first series, we haven't seen Maestro as much as I would have expected, considering how strong, like you mentioned, his gadget is. It can cover angles pretty easily, and he's also got an ACOG LMG on defense, super strong. And so Maestro has only been played, I think, 4 or 5 times tonight, which has been really low. He was banned the very first map, but other than that, he hasn't been banned yet, so it's a pretty interesting decision as to whether teams decide to run this Maestro. But it's definitely super important for kids' dorms, because you can watch this singular long hallway down here, prevent any smoke plants there. And if you want, you can also have the other one watch the main window too. So there are a lot of options that you can do with this, and Nomads have a bunch of frag grenades to clear them out. And without ADSs, that'll be pretty good. But they don't have something like a Zofia or an Ashe who can just super easily peek and take those out.
Standard setup coming out thus far. Sweater utilizing a lot of different operators so far this game. He's gone back and forth in his roles. He's played the IQ, Lion, Ella, Valkyrie. He's gone all over the board really with what he wants to play, and honestly it's working out for him so far. He's having a pretty good game, and I mean, if it works for him, it works. The Valkyrie cams have been spotted out pretty quickly by the IQ. It's being constantly brought. I don't think we've had a round yet this game without seeing an IQ on the board. Whether or not they've lasted more than 30 seconds in the round is a completely different story, with EXO dropping fairly quickly on behalf of DG when he was rocking the IQ. But it's done its job at dispatching those Valkyrie cams. Sweater will be playing inside a kitchen with Pulse of Yaga, so they're going to be going for a duo roam. They have the kitchen to dining wall reinforced. Going for a duo roam, and a lot of information vertically to play with those nitro cells is pretty massive. Thermite charge already going to be opening up the closet now into generator, so the plant for Nomads initially looking like it's going to be coming from master side. They still have all the possibility in the world to rotate for a dorm's windows take. However, you're going to have to deal with that bottom pressure first before going for anything like that.
And it looks like so far Nomads have been focusing their offense on this sort of east side of the map, near Armory and the east stairs, which is a pretty common spot, especially if you have smoke grenades, but Nomads don't, which is a little bit of an odd decision. Obviously, 2 of those smoke grenade operators are banned, but you can still take Jackal, who is really strong on this site for takes like this, because he also has a secondary shotgun that allows him to breach through floors. So I'm actually kind of surprised we haven't seen Jackal yet, but Nip gets a headshot on a Kali off of a peek, and Euphoria trades one back on Yaga. Leaves us with a 4v4 with 1 minute left in the round. Cryogen goes down at the hands of Sweater, and Throw headshots Sweater back. So all in all, trades across the board. We're down to 3-3 with 1 minute left, so for the most part, this is still anyone's game. No one has a very clear advantage here. Nomads have a little bit of control, but they don't have as much control over the site that they would want to have. And the main thing is that they don't have any crossfires. They only have control looking in from around Armory and East Stairs. They don't have anyone else to challenge any other angles quite yet, so I think they're just waiting, biding their time until people can challenge those angles, and then they're going to execute once they get there. So smoke canister goes down. As soon as that clears, we might see a push start to come in. No canisters left, but that's going to be a headshot. He does dodge the grenade as well, so Dash getting out there with a 1-for-0 trade is very good for him. Now Throw is finally on the other side of the map, and he goes for the main window, but Nip just peeks out and gets him with fairly easily play there, and he's going to take the round for his team. That leaves us, I believe, with a 4-4.
5-3.
What?
Match point.
Okay.
Yeah.
Huh. I just had things really wrong. Okay, yeah.
All good. So, yeah, DG up. 5-3 on Oregon, looking to take this home with a rear stage tower defense again. Again, I mean, I don't know if Nomads are going to stall out as hard as they did the first time. The thing is, I didn't see anything from Nomads that looked like any kind of cohesion that round. You saw two guys bouncing around outside the tower, finally deciding to rappel up with about a minute left. You saw one guy just try to vault in through a highway window on the other side by tower, and then just try and frag everyone. That didn't go so well. And then I didn't even get to see what the other two did. I think the Buck pushed into meeting and was able to take down the smoke before getting traded out with about 10 seconds left. So everyone was trying to do their own separate thing. And again, it's probably because Nomads have not practiced and not dry ran a take on 2 tower before. DG runs this because it works. They have the skill to pull it off. Not all teams do. I will point that out as well. It's not like any casual team can come rip in and successfully win a tower defense in any kind of setting. But they've clearly practiced for this a lot more than Nomads have, and I wouldn't be at all surprised to see them take the win again, based on how we saw Nomads attack just result in absolutely nothing.
It is pretty interesting to see Nomads went for a double hard breach, so I have to think that they weren't expecting Disrupt to go back to tower, figuring it was just sort of a one-off kind of deal, because there really isn't too much for them to use these hard breaches on. They're going to have to focus pretty heavily on meeting hall control, and that just leaves them pretty open to get flanked all across the board. So it is difficult for Nomads to sort of wrap their heads around this sort of defense. They do have a lot of soft breach as well, along with, I just noticed, 6 frag grenades. So they really want to take advantage of the fact that there is no ADS. Jaeger has been banned, of course. And tower is as good a site as any for frag grenades. So honestly, they should ignore meeting hall and just go straight for the tower take, because with that many grenades, you can flush people out, take control of the second and third floor of tower. And we even see EXO. He's put a mirror window into attic from tower. So if you can get second floor control of tower, then you nearly won already. And Cryogen baiting Nip out, and Nip goes for it. And so Nip is actually just going to get taken out really quickly.
Yeah, for Nip, I don't really know why you peeked that. You gotta know you're holding the window. You see the pre-fires coming in. Don't really know why you peeked that, especially being the Echo as well. Being able to maneuver those 2 drones around the map to keep stalling out an attack that you already saw be very slow. It's just an unfortunate peek, and Nitro Cell comes flying up the ladder and won't finish anyone off on Nomads. Takes about 25 from both Throw and Cryo, and they'll back off to safety, though. Inside of Dorm, Sweater, though, going to start things off for DG. Takes down Cryo. Yaga going to take down Mailman. That's one of the breachers off the board. And this attic push is slowing down. Throw able to trade out Exo down to a 3v3. Dash gassing everyone out for now to continue stalling out. But there's still plenty of time left on the board for Nomads this time around. Not aggressing towards Slate with 10 seconds left. They got a minute and change left to go. Sweater very worried about anyone coming from outside tower, coming on that northeast side. And Yaga still holding everyone out, and he's going to errantly walk into the middle of meeting, get down from the ladder stall, but Yaga will trade it back out onto Throw as Sweater falls. Now to a 2v2. Diffuser in hand of Cali, and Euphoria's got to be there for the cover. But if they try and push Attic, Dash has this with the mirror. You have to know this, and their rotate looks to be going meeting. They still have to worry about Yaga down below, though.
And again, I really would have wanted to see Nomads go for something other than a meeting hall take, because Disruptor, it's logically, you think about it, Disruptor are going to put most of their resources into a meeting hall defense. So he's actually going to spot out the Thermite, gets a couple of shots off, but doesn't quite get the kill just yet. Euphoria is about to start panicking at this point. We have 17 seconds left, and Nomads once again haven't really done much with their offense, and we see Yaga just being a pain in their side. He's staying in their back the entire time and stalling them out. It looks like Kali is finally going to start planting. Yaga goes down, and that's going to be Euphoria getting the kill. Dash takes out Kali. He thought he had a free defuse, but it didn't look like that was the case, and so Disrupt are going to take map 1 off of Nomads with 2 tower defenses, bringing it to a still 100% win rate on tower, but you know, it does work. And again, when your defensive side is tower, it makes perfect sense that the defense is going to put almost all of their resources in meeting hall So why are you trying to attack and get control of meeting with 12 assists? Why are you trying to get control
Jesus,
over
Exo.
and attack meeting hall? That's the only question I have there.
It's just unlucky, honestly. That's just a bad day. 12 dimes, 2 frags. Yeah, I mean, I even commented on it. They had it at 2v2. They had a minute and change to deal with, and they go through the main lobby, go for the meeting. They obviously couldn't go for the attic push anymore. Next, really be Steve Nash out here. All right, we're gonna end it on that. We're gonna be heading to a break, ladies and gentlemen. Enough with. I love all the memes. Let's go. We're gonna head to a short break in between maps. Next up is I have no clue. I didn't actually look at the maps before. Oh right, it's Oregon or no border. Sorry, I'm an idiot. It's the default.
It's border, yeah.
Yeah.
Super default, and third is coastline.
Yeah, that's boring. All right, we'll see you on the other side of the break.
I didn't think we could fall in love. Broken from the start, chained to our past. We had closed hearts. We are breaking free. It's just you and me. We might fall apart, but running away. Can we break free? Can we break free? Can we break free? Can we?
Hello, everyone. What's up? And welcome back to CCS Season 3, Week number 8. We are in Series 2 of today. The first series, of course, was between Carnage and Chaos and Motivate, and Carnage and Chaos took that somewhat decisively in a 2-0, and now we're about to head into the second map of Disrupt Gaming versus Nomads. I'm Azaraki, and casting with me today is Flynn.
Hello.
So the best you got?
Yeah, it's the best I got.
All right.
I don't know, man. We're heading into Border, another
not
standard
excited
map.
for Border.
Thankfully, some new op bands coming out on Borders. We could see possibly some new ops on the table, but other than that, I mean, Oregon border, coastline, pretty standard. Nomads, I mean, they're going up against a bit of a giant here in DG. Kind of obvious that they are going to be one of the teams making the playoffs at the very least, and could be battling Sinister Academy for that #1 seed by the end of the season. They technically hold it right now, but I mean, they are not undefeated like Sinister Academy, so take it with a grain of salt. Sinister has a game in hand. They can come back and reclaim that undefeated spot, or I guess they'll finish in second because the rounds 4 and against are still heavily in favor of Disrupt. So heading into map number 2, border between DG and Nomads.
Yep, and looking at some of the bans, this is a map border where we unfortunately do see Mira banned relatively often, and as soon as we will be hopping into the pick ban screen fairly soon. So I hope we don't see a Mira ban again, but it's definitely possible. I also hope we don't see a Maestro ban. Basically, all the operators that keep things fresh, I do like to see. And even though Mira has become pretty much a staple, it's still interesting to see whether some teams can come up with new strats using Mira, new placements, new holds. But at this point, Border has been played to, heck and back. So it's hard to find a new strategy that'll catch teams off guard in Border. But if anyone can do it, it's either Disrupt or Nomads. Both of these teams are known for some pretty crazy stuff.
Same to Attacker is going to be banned out, so everyone's sick of the smoke plant. Nobody wants to be able to see through smoke, so Glasgow could be coming off the boards for smoke grenades, the ability to call. Now Maestro getting banned out. All right, we're really getting not fun today, but oh well, we'll make it work. As long as it's not Mira being banned out as well, because then I'm having PTSD flashbacks to the qualifier that went 32, and I don't want to do that again. Sorry, I don't. I'm not about that right now.
Say it went 32, like 32 rounds?
32 rounds, yeah.
Oh, no.
17-15. Unlimited overtime, baby. It's great. Nah, it's a Pulse being banned out, thank God.
That's good. And Pulse makes sense on this map because there are just so many destructible floors in the Armory half of the map. And whether you're defending Armory or you're defending Ventilation Workshop, you hold them in pretty similar ways, so Pulse can be very strong in either case. And even in Bathroom Tellers, there's still a lot of floor that you can detect people through and toss C4 up against, so Pulse bans always make sense, but that does mean Vigil won't be banned, so potentially we'll see some today, but it doesn't look like we'll be starting off with any Vigil unless a team decides to 6-pick to it, which, again, Vigil as a 6-pick doesn't really make too much sense because you don't change up your operators if you see a Vigil, right? And your drones are going to swap it or spot it out anyway. So it's one of those situations similar to Frost, where if you swap onto or off of Frost, you don't really fool anybody. It's like, oh, got you, but they are playing the same lineup they would have otherwise.
IQ being brought out again, this time from the Sweater, so she got passed around through a bunch of different hands on behalf of DG the first time around. Sticking with Sweater apparently for at least round #1, attacking on Border. They'll have their hand at the first half, attacking for the first 5 rounds of the match. Echo being brought out to work in tandem with Mira, and I mean, Echo with the new buff, very strong operator, something we've seen his pick rate skyrocket as of late, getting 2 drones. And the ability for all of the teammates to be able to watch and scan on it. That's another huge thing, and I don't think enough people talk about with Echo, is you essentially get an invisible Valkyrie camera you can move that everyone on your team can see and ping with, that cannot be hacked by Dokkaebi as well, who's also been banned out. So it's a very strong utility to have 2 of throughout the map, just then piling on with the disorientation, the nuisance it can cause, and the ability to delay plant late round. So DG also taking a page, it seems, at a Nomads playbook, bringing the double breach. They didn't bring the double breach at all on Oregon, and yet they'll be starting things off Border with a Hibana on Dot Dash, and Exo bringing the Thermite.
And talking a bit more about the Echo pick, it's something that wasn't. It was still pretty viable before his buffs as well. So I think it was a bit too substantial of a buff, especially because it cuts in on some of Valk's territory, as you mentioned. But we're going to see a lot of Echo in the coming days, which means we'll also see a lot of IQs. Since how do you see invisible drones? You use an electronic detector. So we'll see a lot of IQ. And we see Cryogen getting the peak war onto Dot Dash. He's going to get a headshot. EXO trades one onto Kali, however. That's going to be coming from the armory wall. Cryogen gets yet another. That's EXO going down, but he has already opened up the walls. So he's done his job. They're just going to be missing his gun a little bit as it draws down to a 4v3. Nomads are still in control here. Disrupt have a minute and 30 seconds. By no means is it over. They're going to continue trying to assault. They actually swap over toward the offices side of the map, and Yaga picks one kill off, so it's definitely working as Euphoria is basically forced to stay here and hold this angle, so they won't have his SMG-11, won't have a smoke grenades throw with a nice peek through a melee hole in the wall. We'll take one onto Yaga, and that leaves us with a 2v3. I believe Euphoria still needs to watch Armory Wall, but he's actually rotated around through CCTV and gets the kill onto Sweater, and now Nomads are in complete control. 1 minute left, so still plenty of time for Nip to work with, but it is still a 1v3, which can be a pretty difficult situation. Trying to quick peek through the metal detector here. Everyone on Nomads knows exactly where he is after he fires, and so now it's just a matter of time. Because Nomads are perfectly content with just staying put, and Mailman's gonna find him through, I believe, some sort of peek hole. We'll be able to see that pretty soon. Yeah, this is a pretty nice peek that he's got going on here, all the way into CCTV, and that is going to be Nomads winning the first round.
Now that's a take I haven't seen in a while. Busting open that rotate to behind the half wall inside CCTV, and then Habaning while covering at 90, covering the Habanas coming out onto the back fountain wall. It's a setup I haven't seen used in a little. Okay. Okay. So EXO swapping ops 3 times in 3 seconds. I was intrigued by the Finka. I was ready to see some classic DG absolute rush. But yeah, that setup I haven't seen executed in a while. It's actually been relatively effective simply because it's kind of this tertiary take you don't really stay too conscientious of. There's the AWOL take, which everyone's seen, but with lacking a glass and a Dokkaebi for the smokes and the ability to see through the smokes, kind of an issue. Then you got the office take, which was much more prevalent with the Candelas from Ying flying over the arches into archives, having someone like a Blackbeard on a seat on AC. And I mean, all those operators are in play, so I was expecting to see more offices takes just without having that glass, as he is so prevalent for those wall takes. But yeah, that's a setup that I like seeing. It's one that doesn't really come across too often. Obviously the execution wasn't quite there. They lost their peak battles really early on, and then you're down 2 men and you kind of get a battle back from that, and they never really had the trade outs to accomplish that. But I think if given another shot, DG could pull that take off. And then also, like I said, if you want to go full cancer, you want to bring the Blackbeard, the Lion, the Finka, the Blitz, just pull an SK and hop in. I mean, not having the glass, not having the Dokkaebi, there's no Maestro on the board, and there's no pulse to stop you from below. Every single one of these rounds when attacking topside, I'm looking to see an office take.
Yeah, it would make perfect sense for them to do that. I'm a little bit surprised that we haven't seen Blackbeard all day. And we've seen Jackal played once or twice, even though he's the one of the smoke operators that we carries smoke grenades, and he's also got, again, the ITAS secondary as a shotgun. So he brings some soft breach as well as soft breach that can go up through floors too. So it's pretty interesting to me that we don't really see that at all. So Nomads are focusing pretty much their entire force, minus like 1 or 2 people downstairs. Cryogen gets the first pick on a Nip. That's really early into the round, and now we have a 1v1. That lasted way longer than it should, but Throw eventually gets the kill on that one. It's taken down incredibly low. Yaga gets a couple of shots straight. Gonna try to wallbang, but doesn't quite find anyone. But Throw already picking him off. Kali goes down, EXO finishes off that kill, and Cryogen takes out Dash as well. EXO pushes in even farther. This is a super aggressive play, and it does seem to be working out for him, as he's gotten 2 picks so far, I believe.
Cryo with 2, Throw with 1, and they back off into the middle of a 2v3. The Euphoria roaming dock strategy seemed to try and come in support for Throw. A very injured Jaeger didn't actually go for the stim pistol. He's very wary of both EXO and Yaga playing. Oh, he spotted him on the drone. He's got him on the drone. EXO takes down Mailman. Now that both defenders are topside, Euphoria at 90 is last up. He's right at the top of metal stairs. Sight is clear, and Yaga's launching in stun canisters to confirm this. I don't know if EXO's droning it or if he's covering, but Yaga's just going to go for the drop straight into sight with the stun canister sound cover. He actually went for the silent drop as well, and still holding right at the hallway is EXO, not ADS. So interesting decision there, down to a 1v1. A minute left on the board, so still lots of time to work with to go back and forth. No more stun canisters left for Yaga in the lifeline. Free-firing into the back behind Mattress is Euphoria. Plant goes down, giving away a position of Yaga, knowing he's either got to be in vent or in the back right corner, and Euphoria going to get downed. There's a Doc Stim pistol. Yaga's going to let him up just to finish the knife. And DHG are going to take the attack onto Vent in completing a 2v5? 2v4? Something in that wheelhouse. Yeah.
Yeah, because one kill was traded, but it was definitely a 2v4. So very good play over on the side of Disrupt there. Were you about to say something?
No, that was just, I mean, for Nomads, the aggression, you pulled everyone off site at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know why that Doc came upstairs. I understand the urge or the want to heal your Jaeger, to heal Throw. He's at 5 HP. You get him back up to 100 or in that wheelhouse or in that range, sorry. Like, I guess it would be 85 if he took 2 stims. That would be amazing. He's got a 416, he's 3 speed, he can go challenge more people. But don't lose the round over it. You still had massive man advantage. You still had it at 2v3. Doc, just, you were looking right at him behind the office desk as well. Just pop him with 1 stim pistol, hop over the rail, and get back to sight. They have full sight control from above at that point. They have the Buck and the Zofia. Just because the hatches aren't open doesn't mean they can't open them themselves. You didn't reinforce them. You got to play sight at least just 1 person there.
Yeah, I'm also surprised. I'm also surprised to see how quickly Disrupt played that as well, because, well, I guess I shouldn't be, considering all we've seen of Disrupt so far and how they managed to change things up pretty often, but it did tend to work out pretty well for them on top of that, because Disrupt got a couple of picks while Nomads were still rotating around just due to how fast they pushed in. We saw EXO jump in here into Armory and managed to get 2 by his lonesome, and the rest, as you said, was basically Yaga taking advantage of people out of position, including Euphoria, who went all the way upstairs as a 1-speed Doc, which is something that was pretty questionable. But we do see another gold from Nomads down into in the ventilation workshop. Another castle on the board. Pretty standard loadout altogether. It is interesting that we don't see Mira, because a lot of times Sense teams put so much emphasis on Armory when you are holding ventilation workshop. You do see Mira more often than not on this site as well, but Nomads are deciding to opt away from it. I'm not entirely sure why, but it seems like they feel like they would have more luck with the Doc.
Yeah, there's plenty of different iterations of the vent workshop defense, all of them really culminating in you have to hold above sight for at least as long as possible. If you can hold it for the entire round, then by all means, but at some point, if you've got to bail, make sure you've killed enough time and traded enough people out so that when you drop to sight, it's not a complete onslaught. Cryo again going to start things off, having a very hot match, taking down Dot Dash, he'll fall at the hands of EXO, who grabs 2, both Cryo and Throw fall, and that was the top hold that was devastating towards DG the first time around. This time they only grab Dot Dash. However, the solo breach in Habana falls in the first minute.
Yeah, that's their only hard breach, but a lot of these hatches have not been reinforced, so they won't be missing it out too much. She did do her main job of getting Armory wall open and letting EXO basically run off with the match. He's already gotten 2 kills, looking for more as he's going to explode as much of the floor as he possibly can, trying to flush out all the defenders, and this is why we always see teams try to defend Armory first. Otherwise, you have to play this vertical game, and EXO is just so good at it, especially when he's playing Buck. Frag grenade. It doesn't feel like he's actually going to commit to the frag, but he does go into sight, the sound cover of a couple of flashbang grenades. He flanks around Euphoria, takes him out. Or he takes out Euphoria, Mailman trades the kill Yaga, finishing off the round, but that, I believe, was 4 kills in a single round going to EXO.
Yeah, EXO went off. I don't know if it was 3 or 4, but that was the problem there. So the top hold, the first time around, devastating towards DG. They can't get in and ascertain it. Okay, it's the EXO and Yaga show. Hi. Granted, only through 3 rounds, but they're having a day.
It's not even the rest of their team not stepping up. It's EXO getting all the kills before they can.
He's just going in, and he's having a lot of fun with that C8. It is on 4. Okay, fascinating. That top hold from Throw and Cryo. Again, it starts things off. Cryo is there. He gets the first pick onto the Hibana. Then everything kind of falls apart when EXO walks in and steamrolls them this time around. And then that top control is forfeited. The floor begins being ripped up by EXO and Yaga. And both the remaining defenders in Euphoria and Mailman have to evacuate site to try and defend it from outside in the main hallway. They lose site control immediately after that, and it's game over. So first time around, we saw the top hold do fairly well for Cryo and Throw. Second time around, not so much. They might want to change things up on their top roam.
They might. They haven't changed anything up with their operators, however, and it doesn't look like... It doesn't seem like they're changing up their defense too much. They might be having a little bit more, putting a little bit more resources topside, and which, as you mentioned, that's basically what you want to be doing in this sort of situation, but I think Disrupt are already going to be formulating a plan for it. I think, for the most part, Disrupt probably practice this site more for the armory take, and it's been working really well for them, especially with EXO on the buck. As long as he stays alive, it's going to be very hard for Nomads to keep their on-site defenses locked down. Especially with EXO has been playing really well vertically too. Euphoria gets 1 pick off of a really long sight line. He actually is downstairs, so goes for quite a... How is... Who? What?
Could have been on the balcony and then he dropped.
Did she...
Oh, yeah, she might have actually just
she
vaulted a window.
Yeah, she like dropped that. That was interestingly aggressive, but that leads to an easy kill for Nomads. Now Cryogen takes another kill. That's EXO off the board. This is huge, and they managed to bandit trick one of the thermite charges. So that is going to be Nomads in a pretty good spot in this round so far. Cryogen looking to peek out, see if he can get any picks, but Disrupt do hear him, and they're waiting for him. We got 2 watching the same angle. Another EMP goes out. He gets rushed. Dot dash. He gets 1 kill. There's another pretty good fragger, but Throw takes it back and gets another from someone who pushed off of AC, and now it's a 1v4 situation as NIP just barely misses the head, but it doesn't matter as he gets taken out in the end anyway, as Nomads take back a round, a very much needed round as well.
Yeah, I didn't really get to see a whole lot of what I wanted to talk about with Euphoria bringing the dock. I was very confused. Relating it back to the first time that Nomads held that top site, we saw the dock come upstairs to throw the Jaeger who is severely hurt, instead of everyone falling back. And that's kind of what I imagine your plan is if you're bringing a dock. You've got hatches open, you've got open rotates to fall back with, and yet no one was falling back. This time around, Cryo's holding off the wall, Throw and Cryo both grab a frag each, and then Throw immediately drops down the server hatch, leaving Cryo with the support from, I think, the castle of Mailman, if I'm not mistaken. But he comes back up the west stairs to come in for the flank and is able to trade out and retake Mailman's spot. So that kind of fluidity on the defense that time around really threw off DG. Obviously, Cryo standing up at the door and just kind of one-man armorying the A wall as well certainly helped, but seeing Nomads actually kind of introduce some more fluidity seemed like they were following more of their game plan on their vent hold for the topside roam. It looked a lot smoother, and thus they get the round out of it. So heading back upstairs is Nomads to complete out their first half of defensive rounds, heading back to Armory Lockers and Archives. And yeah, we're not really seeing the full B rush like I was expecting from DG as far as attacking ops go.
Yeah, we do not. But one thing I do want to mention is that Nomads, I'm surprised how differently they're playing the Armory hold and the Workshop Ventilation hold. So they're bringing both a Mira and an Echo. Obviously, when you're downstairs, you want to bring Castle to cut off some extra rotates and basically make it harder for the attackers to actually get to the site if they do decide to go for a any sort of first floor take where they just ignore the Armory. And even late in the round, it can be very useful. Cryogen actually going for an early run out. Still detected, he never actually made it all the way inside. But he's not going to get a pick off of that just yet. Yeah, I'm surprised not to see either Mira or Echo on their workshop list.
Yeah, I was a little surprised by that. I was thinking if you're not going to be falling back to site, if you're not going to open up hatches and go for those rotations back downstairs, why bring a dock? They're not going to get back to you to be healed in time. You're just wasting that utility. If you still want that ACOG and you want utility to help with your roamers, and your roamers are committed to holding until they die, bring an Echo. You got 2 drones that can help stall out that push top side, give them more information, things, disorient the enemies, give them the upper hand on the engagement. You're not losing that utility at that point, whereas Doc Stim pistols are going to be wasted on no one who takes them. Oh, throw.
This is a huge blink. He gets 1, 2, and it goes for a third. He's not going to get it. Nip trades it back, but that was still a very strong flank that takes out EXO and Dot Dash. So they're going to be missing both of those sets of utilities. Sweater, however, picks up 1, goes for another, but Cryogen takes out Yaga on the backside, and now we are in a 2v3 situation. Disrupt are on the back foot at the moment. They do have to attack. 1 minute and 30 seconds left is still plenty of time, but they are a man down. Make that 2 as NIP goes down, but Sweater actually might be able to save him. He picks off 1, needs to watch out for this Mira who might end up peeking, but no, it looks like he might just end up going over to save his ally over there. They know that anyone is watching this angle. He gets the he gets the pre-fire kill onto Cali. That was a very heads-up play by him, and now that leaves us with a 2v1 situation as Sweater is very close to essentially clutching out the round for his team.
All that's left is Cryo, who was in the main hallway, took a lot of damage from Sweater earlier, and Sweater's gonna finish it off with the 3K. Could have 1v3'd himself, didn't even need Nip, but nice to have it as the insurance in a 2v1 situation. Able to bring that back all by himself, gives him a little bit of a head shake. DG win the first half 3-2 on their attacks. They will now head to the defense. Nomads going to try and bring this back to stave off the loss, as they had already dropped map number 1 on Oregon, a scoreline of 6-3. So things trending in the same way as map number 1, but a much closer first half. Disrupt little top-heavy scoreboards on both sides, actually. But Sweater getting into the game with, was that 3? No, that was 4 on the round. He got 1 before the 3K at the end.
With Mira, Echo, and Vigil still on the board, and none of them being banned, I think Disrupt are probably going to be able to close this game out, especially because this map is one that definitely can favor practiced defenses, and honestly, this is a map that most teams have practiced quite a bit of. So Nomads are the ones who need to really come up with a way to break these sort of defensive setups that Disrupt will have. And again, Nomads are playing near the middle of the pack, but they are still playing for a playoff life. Motivate could end up stealing it from them, or stealing the spot from them, and so could our newest arrivals. Meanwhile, Disrupt are playing for a first place spot. Again, if they do win this match, then they will be 7-1. Sinister will be 6-0, so they'll still be undefeated, so it'll be up to Sinister as to whether or not they take back the first place spot, but winning this would put Disrupt in a very good position to force their hand in that respect. So right now we're going to be looking at Mira and seeing what kind of setup it's going to be, and it will look like probably the most standard Mira setup on this site.
I'm a little surprised by the Nomads lineup, to be honest. So you're bringing 4 frag grenades again, so kind of reminiscent of the Oregon lineup. But Jaeger's in play, Cryo and Exo. Okay, Cryo gonna take down Yaga, Exo takes down Euphoria. Everyone going for spawn peaks and trading out shots. It's the sledge off the board, so there go 2 of the frag grenades I was talking about. And Exo's gonna take down Cryo as well, so that's the Ash off the board. I have no idea, but it's working out. Exo now peeking out again. Throw finally going to shut him down after losing half of his life using the M762. So down to a 3v3. The Bandit and the Vigil, so most of any kind of your roam potential off the board. Sweater can go out for the roam, but you probably want to play him on site just for real estate coverage. And you've got Throw down to half HP, still have 2 frag grenades left, but Throw used one of his stun canisters on Break Room, so he's only got 3 left. He can only burn an ADS and a half. That's what I was concerned about with the number of frag grenades on the board and nothing really to burn with. It was just the stun canisters and impacts, really, of Throw to dispatch those ADSs so they can utilize the frag grenades, and it looks like they're not even going to worry about Office, where Sweater is holed up inside a sandwich currently. This is setting Sweater up perfectly. They're all sitting out there on their drones. See the little silhouettes out there. But Sweater's set up perfectly to go for a flank through CCTV if no one holds the flank.
Yeah, he could go for a flank, or if anyone decides to start even trying to push through Offices, the Nip will see them through the mirror window and just be able to call out to Sweater and be able to let them know where they are. He goes for a pre-fire, doesn't quite get anything, but they do sort of know that he is waiting and ready on the flank, which he gives away his position, but it does also stall out Nomads a bit, because now they have to worry. They know that Sweater is threatening their backline. They know that Sweater's threatening the flank, so they do have to keep someone watching it at all times, even if they weren't before, which they should have been. I don't know if that's the case. We do see Throw doing the classic main entrance sort of floor break that lets him see both the mirror window and any bandit batteries that might be on the side. And now Throw is going to take out Dot Dash, leaving us with a 3v2 situation in favor of Nomads.
Actually monumental. That's the smoke off the board, who still had 3 canisters in hand, and with only 30 seconds on the board, Callie's going to take down Sweater too as he gets aggressive onto the wall. They had the ability to stall out the plant for basically the entirety of the remainder of the round. Callie finishes off Nip, and over-aggression, the main culprit for Disrupt losing that round.
Yeah, that's definitely a good point, because Smoke is one of those operators, as you mentioned, that you want to keep until the very last second, because his gadget is just incredibly useful for stalling out, for denying plants, and once you get down to the 30-second mark, you can stall it out for the rest of the round, as each canister lasts for 30 seconds. So they were missing that, and I think for the most part, Nomads were also really happy and calming the fact that they killed Smoke, because that meant that the site was nearly free at that point, especially with the angles that they already had, and they knew that both surviving members of Disrupt were playing inside of Armory, so they didn't have to worry about the CCTV flank, and so overall just a very impactful pick on the side of Nomads. Now we're looking at the 6th pick, and it doesn't look like either of these teams are going to be switching anything off. We're just going to see the pretty similar setup to what we saw last round for Disrupt, and for Nomads, it looks like they are also going for a very similar setup.
Again, I'm really surprised that we're not seeing a little more SK-esque operator lineup coming out. No Lion to Blitz, no Finka. I'm actually super shocked that no one's even tried it yet. The Office take was attempted at least once, but other than that, no one's going for that super aggro rush. You don't have the Maestro and you don't have the Pulse to stop you, really. It's just the Echo on the board, who you're seeing not being actively taken. Just go for it. Just go for it.
Especially with these two teams, which both of them really like to stay unpredictable, so it's interesting to see why neither team is deciding to go for that sort of hold. Mirror windows are in the same spots as they pretty much always are. Are we going to see this turn into a 3v3 at the very beginning of a round again? It doesn't look like it. Disruptor playing a little bit farther back. It was fun last time, it was cheeky. It didn't quite work out. Everyone's trying to peek this angle, and basically betting against Cryogen's reaction time here. But they do actually get everyone safely to the left side of that room, so no one is stuck near Sandwich in Office. Pretty nice angle here. Gets most of the damage down onto Yaga. No Doc to heal that up, so Nomads a little bit ahead in this trade. They're just going to reset. Ooh, Throw gets the first pick of the round. That is onto EXO, so he's already got a pretty good frag under his belt. And so brings us to a 4v4 as Yaga actually brings a C4 to the party. Manages to get one, looking out these mirror windows over here. Now Mailman is the one who's at this point he doesn't have too much left to do with the with his IQ's electronic detector. Now that EXO is off the board, while Vigil is using his operator ability, you can see him with the electronic detector, so they won't have that special ability anymore. But so far, Nomads have actually got a couple of different angles, so they are sandwiching Disrupt, and at this point it basically comes down to whether or not Disrupt can peek through some of these angles and get some picks, because one kill pretty much anywhere at this point will break up Nomads' set of crossfires that they have going on. Everyone's covering everyone else. It doesn't look like anyone is going to be killed just yet. Callie goes back onto a drone after he blows up the armory wall, but the fact that armory wall is down is pretty big for the Nomads. That makes their execution much easier. They don't have to scramble once they get there. Now Throw playing a pretty common angle right here outside of the pillbox. We see two now attacking onto these onto the wall. Smoke canister will delay them, and it looks like we will have Callie still holding this angle here. Nomads are starting to run out of time a little bit, and Callie actually rotates around to the other side. Euphoria and Throw take down two. That's Dot Dash and Yaga going down. And now it's just Sweater and Nip left in order to stop this plant, but they have lost full control of the A site. That's Armory. Completely open for a plant. They hear him going for it, but Sweater can't do anything because there are multiple people watching the angle, and Callie's going to get two headshots back to back on Sweater and Nip. That's going to be the round going to Nomads, and Disrupt so far haven't really been able to find their footing much on defense.
Yeah, so that round really coming down to the perfectly executed AWOL take. A great decision really from Callie there as the Thermites who head over and swing in locker sandwich window. Not a typical angle you see utilized very often, and yet a new angle that Sweater wasn't going to be expecting. He was waiting for someone to peek him from that hole in the small office wall. He was waiting for someone to come around the A-bomb. Instead, repels in locker sandwich, and okay, it works out. He's able to catch Sweater off guard and pick up the double kill to round it out. Now, bathroom tellers for DG. We saw the tower defense. We saw how it worked. This is the team that runs bathroom tellers on Porter, man. This is the team that runs tower on Oregon. This is the team that makes off-meta sites work.
Yeah, and they definitely do. We saw them perform very well on tower in Oregon. So this is just another switch up, and at this point they need to do something to sort of throw Nomads off their game, because at this point they're pretty much bleeding. Right, Nomads have won the last 2 rounds in a row. Disrupt have not won a single round on defense quite yet. They're actually going with Valkyrie instead of Echo. So Sweater just preferring the MPX there. And that sounds like that's going to be the only big change-up they have for defense. Talking about how teams normally hold bathroom tellers is 100% office, right? So we already see Castle, he's blocking off nearly every upstairs entrance to office. And as the round begins to start, we are going to be getting in to see how Nomads decide to deal with it. You only have 2 operators, actually 3, that can rely... No, all 4 of them. Technically all 5, because you can blow up castle barricades with my charges. It's just inadvisable, of course. And so now, Nomads aren't actually going to be stopped too much. They just might have to spend some frag grenades in order to take out some castle barricades. But Jaeger is on the board this time, so they won't be able to do it from too far a distance.
5.
So looking at this defense. 1. So it's like Nomads are already putting a little bit of pressure onto Armory, which is basically just an angle that they can come from to attack the offices, is all that is. And it's not too big of a deal that Nomads isn't watching it at all. ADS, of course, is inside the fountain. I'm not going to fall for that one there. And there's not much that Nomads can do on this side of the map. Try to rotate around and see what else they can get. Dot Dash goes for a very aggressive peek. It was unexpected, but he didn't get any damage down onto Throw as it happened.
The biggest problem there was Cryo was also holding down from inside Workshop, looking up to the hatch that they ejected themselves, looking for anyone to get aggressive. Dot Dash going to get reset now. So down to 50 HP instead of the 20 some odd he was at. Peaks coming in from a locker sandwich. Nomads midway through the rounds, they're starting to get a little bit of progress in towards this office hold. Lots of shots and breach coming up to the floor, so they made it more progress, I'd say, at this midway point that they had on those tower takes. Almost hitting the head was Euphoria as Nip ducked in right behind that ejected mirror. That Sand was playing in behind the copy machine, but it's Exo started things off, taking down Cryo. Coming in towards the hallway, lots of sprays coming in towards different areas. Everyone's just trying to pre-fire the same angle. Now Nip going to be launching out a Nitro Cell and just able to escape as Euphoria as he sprints down towards the 90 in the hallway. Throw pulling up the pistol, trying to land some shots, and everyone on Disrupt all piled in like sardines in the site. They all start pouring out, and Exo able to take down Throw. 2 will drop as they try and regain control of site. They're going to leave their down man upstairs to be traded out. Sweater going to grab Mailman in the process, though. And the plant has gone down inside of site somehow, dropping through the hatch. Dash will claim the life of Callie, and now sticking the defuse. We're Disrupt as the plant went down. Not enough men to cover as they planted inside a bathroom. Man holding fell. It was just the buck upstairs, and DG are going to win bathroom tellers.
So that was pretty similar to a waterfall strat that we might see sometimes. Like, I'm pretty sure Disrupt were holding the top site, and they basically challenged Nomads to plant, right? So Nomads saw that, oh, there's actually no one else down here. So they were just sort of thinking, oh, yeah, we can easily just go for the plant. And as soon as they did, Disrupt said, all right, everybody down a hatch, and they immediately got 3 kills, I believe, and took the site pretty easily, and they were able to stuck the defuse while Thermite was still upstairs. Like, that was a very well-timed defense by Disrupt, and certainly unexpected, which is something that we've come to know and love from a lot of Disrupt's play.
So, Nomads had the advantage, losing on the bathroom teller's defense, back to Armory, Lockers, and Archives. Disrupt Gaming Academy will go. And I'm still shocked. Although we do see the Yang coming out. Maybe Nomads are listening. Maybe they're going to be altering the push. Or maybe they just want more firepower to go for that AWOL take. They executed it beautifully the first time. However, or the last time, sorry, most recent attempt, the attack went by very swiftly. Sweater swapping to an ACOG now on Rook. A little interested to see how maybe just putting Sweater on a, I guess, a close roam position on border. It's weird to classify like a roam because the entirety of the top floor, I guess, really except for CCTV, is still kind of sight. Like offices is kind of sight, not really, but I don't know. It's not like the most massive roam game in the world. You're literally sitting in a room with a connecting wall to the objective. But I think a close roam, maybe even just playing in CC, trying to hold out for as long as possible with that ACOG. We've seen Sweater work wonders before, and Yaga goes for an aggressive run towards anyone spawning East Vehicle. None spawning for Nomads in that specific spawn location, so Yaga able to go back, he tries it again, and he's going to cut his losses there as he can take any damage, thankfully, but he's able to back away to safety, give away his position, and give away the information that there's probably an impact hole in Trip Wall.
Yeah, it's pretty hard to do any hard roams on this site too. Like you said, generally going to stay 1 or 2 rooms near site, because if you were to hard roam, the only places far away enough for that are places like customs or bathrooms if you're doing an armory take, and the offense really just has no reason to go anywhere near those places. So for the most part on the site, you generally see more shallow sorts of next room over types of roaming, and it generally works out pretty well. So at this point, we're going to see a minute already burned off the clock, and Nomads haven't really made any ground. They've opened up 1 wall near offices, but that's about it.
Yeah, Nomads are very spread out right now. I can't really tell what they're trying to do, and it looks like they might be going for a mid-round call. You had 2 guys coming up, metal stairs. Throw will take down Nip. He dies inside a fountain. That's the mirror off the board, so 1 Nitro out. An explosion comes flying out as that was the Nitro Cell of Exo. He takes down Throw on the peak. And he'll escape to safety back into Fountain. Euphoria going to trade out Dash, though. Coming down the hallways, Euphoria again extremely lit, and Exo will finish him off. He'll escape back to site once again, but on the return, Callie shuts him down from behind outside Trip Wall. And now holding the 90 very aggressively is Yaga. Able to escape without taking any damage as well. Disrupt still in a 2v3, but still have a lot of site control. Callie taking a lot of damage, but Sweater will fall on the peak. It's all up to Yaga now. He shuts down Cryo. Now it's down to Callie pushing the office balcony, and Mailman, diffuser in hand. Still a frag grenade left and a powerful SMG-11 to be used. Site control gained, and the plant going down by Mailman inside a site. He pulls off the plant. You're hearing a call, but Yaga's gone for the rotate. He's going to take the diffuser all the way to the opposite site, plant behind the metal half wall. Callie's very lit. Only a couple bullets will down him. Plant is going to be finished up here. Finally, Yaga spots the drone that was spotting him out. And now he's checking for the run out. He's going to pre-fire, take down Callie as he tried to hop out AC. It's down to a 1v1, but Yaga sustained a lot of damage. It's all down to Mailman at 100 HP, holding in right behind the A bomb. He's going to launch out one frag grenade and just keep Yaga at bay for now inside of Archives. Yaga could go for an entire flank all the way around. Instead, he tries to cut across the Archives doorway. Mailman with a one-tap ends it. And Nomads looking to push this to map number 3 on match point currently on border.
Yeah, and I don't think I necessarily expected Nomads to take Disrupt to a map 3, but we are getting very close as it is match point. And now Disrupt need to win this to draw it, and then we go to an overtime, which could potentially be infinite, but we're going to hope that it isn't. And so, looking at the last round, I think for the most part, Disrupt... It was sort of weird because I think a lot of just heads-up gunfights were lost by Disrupt, and I don't think necessarily there were too many ways I could pick at their teamwork or defensive hold-up, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, there wasn't really anything too substantial. I think Nomads started out that round very spread out. A lot of space in between. They're trying to ascertain like where the direction should be going for the push. It looked like they were trying to make that mid-round call, and it worked out for them in the end. But it came down very close, even though they started off getting significant man advantages. Lots of trade outs, even with that spread between their attackers. Very, very good positioning in the end to take those trades and be able to trade it out back and forth. And now heading downstairs to Vent and Workshop. Disrupt try to push this into overtime now, bringing your standard lineup. Sweater going back to the Valkyrie. Again, a lot of utilization of the frag grenades. Cryo is going to be taking the Twitch. That's an operator I don't think we've really seen at all, at least in this match between DG and Nomads. I haven't seen a lot of Twitch, if any.
Yeah, we saw it a decent amount during the first series, but definitely during the second series, we didn't see much of it at all, which is a bit of a shame because the FAMAS is also just a very good gun to use. It's got super low recoil, and I can definitely see why a lot of players would opt for something like that. This is a pretty common Valkyrie cam that I see a lot in this this pool over here, and it sees pretty much this entire side of the map, as you can see right now. So it's a very common one, and unless the rogue heads all the way over to that side of the map, it's generally going to be out of range for him to spot with the electronics detector. So it can be we also see that Sweater is pulled up right next to the window that he threw it out on. So if he does see anyone repelling on that side of the map, he can easily just run out and take them out. As far as their defensive setup goes, we do see Nip placed. So he's going to get one kill. That's a headshot onto Euphoria. Good start for Disrupt, as Nomads started pushing in very, very quickly. I was about to say, Nip actually put one of his mirror windows up on the up on Armory Wall, so that's a pretty common place that I'm sort of surprised that Nomads didn't do on their defenses.
Roaming mirror and customs works out. Exo as well, gonna pick up Cryo. So now coming down the main hallway, Yaga as well. Nip with the Nitro takes down Mailman. It's suddenly a minute 15 deep into the round. Callie in a 1v5. Diffuser in hand as the Fragmite. I have a feeling this is going to be going to overtime. If we immediately get sent to map number 3 here, I will be astonished. Nip's gonna end it, pushing up the site door. We got OT on border.
Yeah, Disrupt do not want to give this one up just yet. They have a very good map score. So far, they have 45 round wins over round losses, which, as we've been talking about, is ahead of Sinister Academy. So even though Sinister have not lost a match yet, Disrupt still have lost fewer rounds, which is pretty interesting. So their victories have been more decisive than Sinister's. It's just the one loss that they have to thank for some of those. But Disrupt are looking to protect that, as we see a Tachanka hovered. Even if he did lock that in, that would definitely be 6 picked out of there. And I think during the qualifiers, we actually saw someone 6th pick to a Tachanka, and it, didn't work at all, like you would expect. But again, the 6th pick can throw people off guard, but there aren't too many operators that. Ooh, I like that actually. Okay, so what Disrupt did was what I said during the first map, which is Oregon. So they went for a setup without castle, and that made Nomads think that they were going for the classic armory hold, because out of armory, workshop, and tellers, armory is the one that doesn't usually involve castle. So they didn't show the castle, so they made Nomads think that it was armory, and therefore Nomads has this setup which is very good for armory. I would still like to see some sort of smoke grenade, but obviously without Glaz or Dokubi that can be pretty difficult. But they do actually go for Founding Tellers this time.
So Mailman gonna be bringing in a Lion, another operator we've seen a little out of so far, at least in this matchup. Again, I wasn't here for the first one, but in this matchup, at least Lion pretty sparse. Haven't seen a single Blitz yet. Haven't seen a single Finka yet. We almost did. Haven't seen a Fuse Shield. No, we haven't seen a lot of the specialties that we're used to seeing from DG playing that hyper-aggressive game. And Nomad's playing a little more structured format, but they've been known to go for crazier rushes in the past. I'm very surprised we haven't seen any of that kind of cancer lineup come out, but not complaining about it either. Again, this push from Nomads, trying to push in topside, very difficult to speed up anymore, especially with those castle barricades slowing you down. Throw's gonna be able to get 2 with the impacts, and Euphoria, if he can get close on them, he can sledge them. However, getting close to the castle barricades has been an issue, especially with the nitro cells in hand. You've got 3 currently, as Exo's been running the nitro on Bandit throughout the game. So very dangerous, and now getting close to that castle barricade as well. Getting dangerous just for being shot in the feet. Throw losing about half his life over it. His dot dash going prone on the metal half wall. He's going to continue to stall this out. A minute deep now. Nomad's still trying to even push through and get some kind of control over the thermite open the back of Fountain, something they weren't able to do the last time around. They just wanted to open a peak hole, but Exo coming up west stairs is going to drop the breach of Cali, and that's Diffuser down. He's held in place by the EOD, turning the corner, was going to be throw, but he gets on the drone, coming hallway, Euphoria looking down, Exo grabs 3! And now Mailman will finally trade him out, down to a 3v2 in favor of Disrupt Gaming. Mailman right on the other side of the soft fountain wall, peeking around the corner is the Jaeger of Dot Dash, unable to land the shots, but Yaga comes in for help. Crowd trades out Dot, but Yaga drops Cryo, and DG are going to take the first round of OT.
I just love Disrupt's play for that entire round. Exo played super patiently. He waited until he heard the thermite charge go down before he actually pushed up the stairs outside of Fountain, because we saw that I forgot who was holding the thermite for Nomads. I think it was Cali.
Yeah.
He was constantly peeking down those stairs, trying to make sure that no one would flank him from there. And after about a minute, he said, "Okay, no one's coming. I'm free to do this." So he does it, and suddenly EXO shows up, shoots him in the back, and somehow manages to get 2 more as well. That was a very clean set of picks for EXO, even though one of them was more of a right time in the right place sort of deal. But after that, once they had the man advantage, they held angles incredibly well. Disrupt made sure that if Nomads ever tried to challenge any of them, there would be someone else watching the angle and able to return the kill, and that's exactly what we saw toward the end. We saw, I believe it was Nip peek out and try to take one out, and he distracted them so that someone else could peek around the corner and get the kill. And they did that once again. Even though they dropped one, they had some good crossfires and they were able to trade it out. And hey, trading anything out in a 3v1 means you just win the game, so you can't argue with that whatsoever. The Nomads taking it back to Armory.
As much as Exo screaming in chat, to give him the benefit of the doubt and give him the credit where it's due, the rules have changed. So, formally, in overtime, he was correct that the rules were a 2 stay per side, so a roll swap of 2 rounds per. With the mid-season changes we made, with the new ESL announcement, the new operator bans, the new operators themselves, the new map, and the new map pool, and the new ban format, so all that came out in the mid-season update, we did change the overtime parameter for roll rotation from 2 rounds consecutively on each side to 1. The rule for winning, though, winning the actual match, has not changed. DG wins this round, it's over. If Nomads wins, it does not go to OT match point like a typical ESL game. It will continue until one team wins by a score difference of 2 rounds.
Yeah, but that's something that you gotta be able to stay on top of as well. And overall, the swapping every side rather than every 2, or swapping sides every round instead of every 2 on overtime is more balanced, because on a really defensive heavy map, it might just end up being whoever gets both rounds, or whoever gets to start on defense, because they get 2 rounds. It looks like Yagi is already holding an angle way from the right next to CCTV, but Throw is actually going to take him out through the wall off the rotate. Very smart play by Throw to know exactly where they will rotate out to as soon as they stopped peeking that angle. Now Sweater is trying to trade a kill back. Euphoria takes one onto EXO. That's a headshot with the SMG-11. He's actually playing a pretty odd angle for Smoke. Usually you see Smoke directly on site. Dash takes off Cryogen, but this time Euphoria is playing downstairs as Smoke, so a little bit unexpected. Throw takes out Sweater, leaving us with a 2v4. It is still possible for Disrupt Gaming, but with Dash on about 4 health, it is going to be a very difficult call.
Firing in, going back and forth, neither one landing the shots. Euphoria coming up west, gonna drop Dash. It's all down to Nip now. It's in 1v4. He takes Throw down once again. Now rotating back to site. Euphoria just makes it in metal. He's gonna escape the small office. There's still a minute 15 on the board, so lots of time for Nip to work with here and whittle them down one by one. He's gonna see the feet and light him up. Mailman will fall. That's the Echo who's trying to blast him. Down to a 1v2 now. Euphoria and Cali still at 100 HP. Nip can be launching an EMP to try and find that Echo drone, disable it, and put it on the ground. He's still got one inside of Fountain. Euphoria laying down in the corner. You can even see his silhouette in there. I thought he rotated back to site and stayed in Armory. Instead, he holds in the Fountain. And Nomads are going to extend this deeper into overtime on Border.
Yeah, we're going to our second overtime so far. Remember, this is infinite overtime. We need one of these teams needs to win by 2 in order to take the victory. So it's still anyone's game, and I didn't really expect Nomads to take Disrupt to an overtime on this series, but they have off of the back of some pretty decent defenses. And are we going to see the Blitz? You've been talking about it all night, but without never mind. Let's just nip that one in the bud right there. They swapped off of it really quickly. They do still have the Lion, which is a pretty aggressive pick, but we don't see the classic Blitz Lion with maybe a Finka to operate on that as well. So
Vent work. Interesting pick. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, they can go back Armory. No, they can't. No, it's a rotation of 1 round played in overtime, or is it still 2? I'm actually not sure in the overtime rules if it changes.
They did bathroom tellers the first time, so they could still go for Armory if they wanted, no matter what the ruling is. But they do decide to go for Workshop Ventilation, which is an interesting choice. This is usually you go for Armory first, then once that's locked out, you go for Ventilation Workshop, and then sometimes you try to catch your opponents off guard and you go for Bathroom Teller first or Bathroom Teller second. But Disrupt they basically managed to find the second least likely option and go for it. So Nomads are now forced to play against that, but it's not going to hurt too much because Nomads were expecting an Armory play, and you still attack Ventilation Workshop much like you'd attack Armory because the defenses are pretty similar on top of that. So Armory Wall, there's going to be a pretty heavy focus here, but we will see if Nomads will drone out the fact that Office is pretty clear. There's not really much that they need to do in order to take Office.
I'm actually very surprised by the Vent work pick overall. The Bathroom Teller's success so far has been a game changer for DG, being able to go there multiple times in the game and have a lot of success on that site that a lot of teams deem unviable. Also, Armory Lockers, if it was open, if it wasn't, nonetheless, I mean, being able to 6-pick to that castle, it caught Nomads off guard the first time. I don't think it would catch them off guard the second time, but nonetheless, even when they knew they were heading Bathroom Tellers, when they saw that castle coming out the first time, the first attack stalled out just the same as the second one did. The aggression from DG still won them the round the same way it did the first and second time. That Bathroom Teller success, maybe they were afraid of getting too predictable. Bandit, though, EXO is going to be going for the run out. He's going to get exposed to the side, though, so Euphoria will trade it back. Cryo was also there in position to wallbang him through the wall, but that's the breach off the board. And that's a little more important than controlling the top floor. Being able to get in and grab that real estate topside, having that breach is very influential on that push. And good night, Dot Dash. What a pre-fire by throw to the top of metal stairs to take down the roaming smoke.
Knew exactly where he was, and Yaga is actually going to go down as well. This is not good for Disrupt, as Nomads are getting pick after pick across the board. Line EE1D goes down, and that allows them to push in a little bit farther. They check a couple of corners, but overall don't really make any ground using the EE1D, which is a little bit unfortunate, and they didn't really get as much value as they would have liked. It's a pretty good Valkyrie camera. However, he does still get spotted out and peeked. Sleeves, never mind, doesn't leave us with a 1v4. That's going to be Cryogen taking the last kill. Nip goes down, and Nomads are actually bringing it to match point themselves.
Back-to-back rounds. It looked like DG were going to be taking that round as well and putting themselves back in a position to win the game next round. But even though they dropped the breach, everyone gets really aggressive. You saw the smoke come up west. You saw, I do not remember what operator it was, filling in behind the mirror on A wall, also repeatedly peeking. EXO with 19 kills. Yeah, he's kind of making up for map number 1, I'll say that much. But just the aggression from DG again biting them and really being the detriment in that round. The rest of the setup looked fine. You trade out a bandit who's already got bandit charges down, and you take out the only breach on the board. That seems like a pretty good trade to me. You lose a nitro cell for breach. You're at that point, everyone just kind of calm down, and no one needs to keep peeking aggressively every single possible angle. And Nomads are starting to read into that. They're starting to expect that aggression every single time. They're starting to pre-aim and pre-fire every corner they're taking because they don't know where a DG person is going to be. And unpredictability at that point is starting to become predictable. Just if you pre-fire everything, the law of averages will tell you that you're gonna hit something eventually, especially when DG are giving them the opportunities to hit those shots, like we saw on Dot Dash the Smoke.
Yeah, it's definitely a series of mid-game adaptations where Nomads, like you said, are coming to expect it, and Disrupt haven't really been adapting back in order to basically trade out those kills at the very least. So now we're going to see Nomads. They're going for a event workshop hold as well, which makes a little bit more sense for them because they did already finish their first round upstairs in Armory. See Cryogen getting ready for a run out. Doesn't look like he'll commit to it just yet, but he does open up CCTV. He's going to be able to play over on that side of the map, which CCTV is always a very strong hold. They actually see Cryogen. He's going to go for a C4. Gets too low, but doesn't quite get anyone. That was incredibly close, and actually just a really smart idea by Cryogen.
Starting things off with a bang. Cryo can be lighting the nitro onto Nip and Sweater, although Throw taking a lot of damage with this from Yaga. Oh, Throw's upstairs, so taking damage from somewhere else. Lots of sprays coming in the front door, and it looks like DG are just trying to aggro in towards the vent site. Okay, I don't know why Yaga's saying that in all chat, but EXO gonna start things off, dropping Cryo. That's the bandit off the board who already used his nitro cell. But, oh, he's asking for a stim from the opposing team. I'm an idiot. Nonetheless, lots of explosions coming up, clearing barbed wire. Dot Dash gonna rush into site and take down Galley. Mailman gonna trade one back. The shots from Yaga almost land on the head of his teammate, but he's able to shut down Mailman. Now down to a 4v2. Euphoria and Throw both off site. Yaga's cleared the entire thing. Nip has to be putting the plant down. Sweater drops Euphoria. It's all down to Throw now, who was topside, trying to cover from above. He's got EXO right beside him and Locker sandwich. EXO takes the corner, and we go deep into overtime.
Third overtime, we're in on it. And now we're going to see if either of these teams can win 2 rounds in a row, because that's what it takes. It is infinite overtime. And so for that round, I do like the I did like the Cryogen's C4 play, but honestly, Disrupt flicked the switch to their aggression once again, and they, interestingly enough, they sort of waited for it too. So I think that was a little bit of a mini mind game within the game, where Disrupt basically pretended like they weren't going to be aggressive. They played really slow for the first 50 seconds or maybe even a minute of the match, and then immediately just gunned it toward the toward Workshop, and Nomads just weren't prepared for it. They got caught off guard, and that's all it took. And so now Disrupt switching to Armory and Archives. So again, this is one of those situations where I think Disrupt at this point could go back to Bathroom Tellers. They definitely could go back to Ventilation Workshop because they lost on that side, but they do decide to switch it up at least a little bit. Bandit's going to be their 6th pick, whereas we might see a Montaigne. It is going to be a Montaigne. Okay, so Nomads are the ones bringing out the, I wouldn't call it cheese yet, but it's definitely pretty close.
I was a little surprised there by Exo as well. He had Bandit locked in initially, 6th pick to a Valk, and then went back to the Bandit. And I imagine that was his team telling him to stay on Bandit instead of 6th picking off. However, you know that Nomads have been bringing, if not a Thatcher, a lot of vertical destruction every time. They've had a Zofia, I think, every single round on attack so far this game. So you know you're putting down your bandits, you're pre-placing them, they're going to get destroyed and the wall's going to get open. This has been a pattern that's gone on. You're not trying to actively bandit trick. Now they're bringing a Thatcher as well, which you saw in reveal phase as well. So what's really the point? I mean, yes, it'll slow them down for an extra 15 seconds at maximum. Valkyrie, however, having those cams can provide you so much more intel than just bringing the bandit batteries for the sake of that's what we bring. Obviously, the damage on the MP7 can be a lot better than the MPX. You still get a nitro cell. I mean, it's a pretty even trade. You get the armor, being able to absorb more bullets on a 2-2 on Valk than on a 3-1 on Bandit. I thought the swap was a good call, and then he went back on it. Also, the Monty. Yeah, this is going to be interesting.
Especially since Nomads didn't show a... I don't believe Nomads showed an IQ either, so he would have been pretty free to go for the Valkyrie pick, or even an Echo pick. Though I don't think EXO plays Echo very often. He could still figure something out at that respect. But Mailman's going to spot out quite a bit of information for the rest of his team, knowing where people are going to rotate as this Montaigne. And I think Disrupt at this point are the ones who have to make a little bit of a mid-series rotation, a mid-round rotation, and basically bring their smoke over to challenge the Montaigne here. But Nip actually goes for a run out, and there's the smoke. Beautiful play there. And Euphoria is going to get a return kill onto Sweater, but I do like that they're basically following around Montaigne with smoke. Euphoria gets another headshot, and that is going to be 2 kills over on the side of his play. He's going to go for a grenade over the roof, and it's not going to hit anything. It's ADS out, but he does get shot from the very same angle he threw a grenade from. He was not expecting that whatsoever, and now Mailman is getting challenged right in the face by EXO. But that was... I don't know what he was doing there, honestly. That end... They... What? What did... Way too many things just... That's really smart Claymore placement. Like, you show the Claymore there, and they decide to jump over to avoid the Claymore, and there's another Claymore there, but Yaga died from falling, so he was downed. And then EXO rushed a Montaigne while there were still teammates left to...
Yeah, I'm so lost by that. I'm so unbelievably lost by that. What are you doing? You know they're pushing radio window. You get the call that the Thatcher just killed Nip 5 seconds ago. You think he's not gonna hop in the window when your Monty screams, "There's a guy in my face"?
You're trying to melee me out of my shield. Like, it's... yeah, that's just very strange.
I don't know. Sweater's bringing a Blackbeard. At least we're getting some alteration here. And a Blitz!
This is the first Blackbeard we've seen all night. That, I can't believe.
We had a Blitz. Now we're going back to a Blitz. Okay. I don't like the Cancer Ops. I just like that the read should be to be going for that aggro B push. Based on all the operators that have been banned out. You don't have the Glaz, you don't have the Dokkaebi to go for that. They're customs anyway. Fascinating. But, so yeah, DG's showing a lot of versatility here. Or sorry, Nomad showing some versatility, being able to go customs here. They haven't. Neither of these teams have tried it this game, which I think is interesting.
This game in general has just sort of evolved as the series went on. Customs is a very, very rare bomb site, even way rarer than Bathroom Tellers. Because Bathroom Tellers is usually the alright, let's catch people off guard site, but I don't even know how teams normally hold customs because it just doesn't happen. Yeah,
so usually you're gonna have the castle barricades. You're probably gonna place 2 upstairs to try and hold CCTV. That's your beachhead mirrors. You're gonna place probably a lot of bodies upstairs as well to try and hold CC for as long as possible. Then you have another castle barricade downstairs to try and stall out that immediate rush. If you had a bandit tricking, Euphoria is gonna drop Exo though, so that's the buck off the board immediately. I don't know where Exo tried. Oh, he tried to rappel up to frag grenade in. So he gets picked off the rappel by Euphoria. A double push topside from the Blitz and Thatcher of Dash and Nip. They're trying to immediately clear out customs. Doing a pretty poor job of even getting some entry in, but still plenty of time left on the round. We have a pinch coming in. Dash going to take some damage. This is from throw on the Ella inside of CC. Pinch coming out, but Sweater taking most of the damage. Yaga finally going to take down Cali. So they've leveled up Mancat now down to a 4v4. Sweater going to drop Euphoria as well. That's 2 down. Euphoria was actually a smoke on site. And now there's another one inside of server hatch. Cryo gonna take down Nip. The run comes from Throw to take down Sweater. Now it's down to a 2v3. Throw Mailman, who's gonna fall upstairs to Yaga. Now down to a 2v2. It's the Zofia and the Blitz against the Castle, who's dying off screen. And pushing into sight is Yaga. Lots of impacts coming out upstairs as they're trying to deal, but Dash will shut down Cryo. It's now down to a 1v2. Throw coming in for the flank in behind Yaga. Both Yaga and Dash extremely low on health. And Diffuser is lost upstairs. Dash will reclaim it and come back into sight. Now droning in the middle of detention, I believe, is Yaga on the other side of the wall. And now rushing in, Throw, and be heading towards the hallways and gets spotted out on the drone. Takes out the drone, runs towards the main lobby. The spray's going to come out, giving away his position, but he downs and finishes off Dash. Down to a 1v1. The Diffuser is lost outside of detention wall in between the supply room window and the breach hole. Down to just the Ella and the Zofia, a 1v1 sister rivalry. Less than 50 HP for Dash, around 38 or so. The stun grenade is going to be coming out, but they only last half as long. Pulling up the drone once again is Dash. They're in the middle of a Mexican standoff, and they have to, or Yaga has to be going for that diffuser, but Throw is perfectly placed at that front lobby to shut down any kind of recovery. Going to be up to Yaga to bait that run out, or he's going to allow Throw to come back and retake site if he grabs a diffuser. He's trying to push for the kill, and Yaga somehow disoriented by his own concussion and an Ella mine. Yaga takes down Throw. We extend even deeper into overtime on board.
So that round was a pub with good fraggers. Like there was no rhyme or reason to either the defense or the offense there. It seemed like every kill that was had was in a location that wasn't necessary for an execution. It barely even necessary to hold an angle from or to CCTV. There were a lot of random kills going on throughout the round, so you could tell that none of the kills happened in a very short span. It wasn't 3 kills at once, so it wasn't off the back of an execution. So these teams are just going so hard at trying to catch each other off guard that we're even throwing strategy out the window in some respects. So Nomads are now going to show the Blitz. It could very well be a Blitz that's shown but 6 picked off of as we head into, I believe this is the 4th overtime.
Yeah, we're going pretty far. We're going pretty far, and the Blitz will stay. Mailman taking the Blitz, and Mailman formerly of Hydra, who are now known as the Sinister Academy. Mailman was a very proficient Blitz on that roster back in the day. Exo's still rocking the Bandit, which I can understand. He's had a lot of success on defense with it so far. I just think it hasn't done a whole lot to stall things out. Now, they have swapped off the Zofia. Throw's going to be bringing the Twitch drone, which is taking things a little bit more on faith that you'll be able to get the job done. But nonetheless, Bandit charges might be able to actually be the culprit in stalling things out, unless Exo just goes for that run again and takes down Cali, the Thermite, who's been gunned down outside a CCTV window twice so far.
Looks like so far they're playing a pretty normal hold for the Ventilation Workshop defense. Disrupt. This would be a pretty decent round for Nomads to have gone for a Thatcher, considering there's the Bandit batteries, there's also the can you get the troop drone? There you go. And there's the Bandit batteries, there's also the Legion's goo mines that also get destroyed by EMP grenades. Mailman in a little bit of a almost one, just more like shoot at each other a bit and then run. But either way, he does still get in. Yaga comes around the back, very unexpected angle. He goes for a peek, trying to see if there's anyone else he can take. doesn't see anyone at the moment, but if he does wait here, he might still see the pick. There it is. No, not going to be able to get it. Let's see if he can get a kill off the re-peek, and now Euphoria takes out Dodge Dash. Sweater gets one as well, leaves us with a 4v3 again. Back-to-back action. Both of these teams are trying to catch each other off guard as much as possible, and Yaga is doing a fairly good job of it himself. Flanking around the side, he gets the Blitz player. That's a huge pick. And now Nomads are down to a 2v4 as they do manage to drop one, but EXO gets the return kill, and Kali is trapped here alone with 4 people shooting at him, all from different angles. He manages to get a headshot off of one. That's EXO going down. And now things have slowed down just a little bit. Disrupt can wait. They don't have to push him. Please don't push him. They're pushing him, but he does manage to get the kill anyway, as Yaga takes out the SMG-12, and we are going to see Disrupt take it to another match point. But let's see if EXO tries to run up and melee a Monty to death with the shield extended once again.
I'm a little surprised, not gonna lie, that this game has turned into an absolute gunfight, and that the site is basically irrelevant at this point. Nobody really cares what the site is, what the hold is. It's who can frag the best and the fastest. I like it, I guess. Nip bringing the Finka. Hey, we're getting an EXO with a fuse, maybe a fuse shield. Getting the sipping on OJ special. Jeez, there's not really a lot to break down about the last 2 rounds. It's been crazy trade outs. Who's in a better position? Who makes that one extra flank? Who hits their shots? Hey man, you're trying to keep up with DG if you're Nomads for the aggression. You bring out the blitz, causes a bit of a distraction, but doesn't really result in everything, and everyone just kind of culminates inside supply room and detention and inevitably dies. So I don't want to say that I would recommend keeping things a little more structured, because the more rigid you play against this kind of free-flowing, extremely aggressive, we're going to run out of every window possible defense that you're going up against in DG, it can be a lot to contain. So being a little more sporadic yourself, being a little more unpredictable can help. You're trying to go to a gunfight with DG, and if they're anything, they are fantastic fraggers.
That is very true, and we see EXO, I think he had 22 kills so far, and he's looking to get some more, as considering we are only 17 rounds in, that is quite a good score for him, especially since he might not survive every round. But we do see a double, it might be a double shield strat. I haven't seen if EXO has gone for the shield on fuse yet, but it only stands to reason that he will. And so Disrupt have no hard breach. We do have a fuse shield with no hard breach, attacking ventilation. So I guess you can argue that this site doesn't need a hard breach as much as the other sites do, because the defense have to spread out their reinforcements between armory and workshop, so there are going to be less reinforcements overall. But it's still really weird, and they don't even have a lot of soft breach. And Yaga's gone down. They don't have any soft breach anymore, unless people have taken breaching charges. This game is insane already, and it has been.
Dash is that blitz trying to pressure into Armory, as Cali's going to drop Exos down to a 3v5. DG trying to pressure in on the back of that Finka and blitz push. It's not really gaining much progress, but now the blitz going to be vaulting in. Smoke cannon is going to be coming out, and that's going to do a lot of damage if you're Finka boosted. Then your health exponentially faster than if you had just been normal and not been boosted. Euphoria is going to drop Sweater as well, so it's down to the Finka and the Blitz now in a 2v5. Blitz has gone for complete rotation detention, going to be going through customs and following close behind, coming in supply room with diffuser in hand. 2v5 for DG. You have a minute and a half to pull it off. ADSing and trying to hit one. Lands shots onto the dead body in the hallway. Unable to finish the kill, and now it's Nip in a 1v5. He falls to Cryo, and we keep on going.
I think this is 5. I think this is overtime 5. No team has won by 2 just yet, and Potato Wars is right. This is
yeah.
This you know, the more we go on, the less and less there is to say, because when the offense starts to pick Shield, Fuse, Blitz, Ash, Finka, and I forgot who their last person was, but it wasn't a soft or hard breach. It was Twitch. what do you analyze at that point? Like, they have a single hard breacher who dies at the start of the, or a single soft breacher who dies at the start of the round, no hard breacher. How do they attack in that sort of situation? You're basically just relying on the shield operators to go through doors against teams that almost always run smoke on defense. This is a crazy game. This game gets crazier as time goes on, and I think both of the teams are also feeling that as well.
Yeah, it's turning into a frag war, really. And I mean, if it was going to devolve to a frag war between two teams, I'm not really all that shocked that it's DG and Nomads. Been going a little while, you know, we're upwards of 2 hours now, and this game's going pretty deep. We already played a map before this in which DG took the map of Oregon 6-3, and that game played out very structured and more relaxed. We didn't see a whole lot of crazy aggression. We saw DG maybe jumping the gun of what we'd standardly see a little bit more, but other than that, it was fine. And same thing on Border until about 5 rounds ago. Now we're starting to see a little bit of the insanity coming out. After Teller's defense, though, I've been saying I want to see someone go back to it, and DG's bringing it out once again. This hold is 2 for 2 so far this game, and it kind of plays into their wheelhouse of the style of game they're playing right now, which is the insanity hyper frag mode. Everyone kind of packs themselves into Office, Fountain, and Archives, and they just explode out into a flurry of frags and just go for the maximum number of damage, or the maximum amount of damage possible.
Sweater here is 900% ready for a run out. Look at this position. He's got Valkyrie cam way far in the back, like out of range for pretty much any IQ who doesn't actually go down that road. And he's standing by the open window, ready to go out if anyone shows up. But unfortunately for him, no one did show up. So now Disrupt and Nomads are playing, I don't want to say standard yet, because I feel like that'll break apart in about 12 seconds. And, ooh, we actually saw an impact grenade take out one of Callie's thermite charges on Fountain Wall. That was actually a pretty heavy, and he actually gets a kill onto Callie too. So that's the hard breach down for Nomads. They weren't defending him at all. And Axo gets another one. That's 2 kills already toward the side of Disrupt. Nomads aren't really covering each other at all. Cryogen picks off 1, picks off 2, and Euphoria gets a 3rd kill, and IP trades it back, and now we're down to a 2v2 as all of the action happened right in a row. What have we come to expect from this match? NIP, Nip brings it down to a 2v1 as Euphoria is the last one left for Nomads. He needs to try to... Oh, they know where he is now after the... That was so close. And I think he was spinning on his way down, too.
Yeah. Oh, hell yeah. He's having some fun. Dash goes for the 360 while dropping Teller's hatch. Trying to recover Diffuser as Euphoria coming down the long hallway. He's in a rock in a hard place here. Nip taking that advantage on the angle, coming around the corner with a faster fire rate. Allow Euphoria to back all the way up with the Diffuser in hand and start returning to site. And that's a bit of an issue as Dash, the lone man on site with the UMP. Still 100 HP, so he can go in. One headshot will finish it off either way. Euphoria trying to slowly work his way through Workshop. Still about a minute on the board, which is hard to believe. The amount of carnage we've seen so far. So that's the Sledgehammer as well to use all the soft destruction as possible. The SMG-11 in hand as he's trying to take that engagement, the UMP pre-fire through the wall, and Nip's gone back into bathroom. Default cam spotting him out, even more shots landing onto his front side through the wall now, and Euphoria nowhere really to go. They're covering each side. Dash through a tiny kill hole in the Teller's wall will shut down Euphoria. Nomads, again, backs against the wall. We've said this a few times now. 10-9, we'll be heading to round number 20.
Round number 20. That's when you see round 10 and you realize that it's the overtime round 10. Like, look at those numbers trying to fit in the squares. That's insane.
It was worse in the qualifier game.
This is weird. Yeah. If either of those, if they get to 20 and you don't have the thin little 1 to fit in there, I'm scared to see what it looks like. But overall, just again, kills going across the board very quickly. The fact that Callie died really early in the round was definitely a big issue because they couldn't open any hard breach walls, especially the one into Fountain was the one that they were banking on. And as soon as that wasn't a strategy anymore, they almost panicked a bit and things delved into more chaos than they would be before. So we're going to see Disrupt forcing match point once again, and it's not even a situation where both of these teams always win on defense, because we've seen some overtime wins on offense too. It's just, what's even happening right now? It's crazy. It's actually crazy.
Yeah, so heading back to Armory Lockers, we're seeing Echo being brought out now. I'm a little surprised by the Ella pick still, Euphoria on the Ella. I think that while the Ella has slowed down a decent amount of the engagements, like there's, I don't know, I feel like there's other guns you could bring. I mean, the Vigil's still up for grabs. Alibi we haven't seen at all. I mean, the fire rate on that with basically no recoil. If this is going to turn into, I don't care about utility, I don't care about the site, I don't care about any kind of structure, this is just a frag battle, I feel like Scorpion's not really the best gun anymore for that. You know, 41 bullets, high rate of fire, but that recoil's going to bounce everywhere. I feel like there's other guns you could use if this is just going to devolve into chaos, but Sweater bringing the Blitz, Yaga on the Ying, and Exo with the Lion. We're also digging deeper into the Cancer repertoire now. Everyone's starting to pull out one more Cancerous off at a time. Cryo looked like he wanted to stay in CC. He's going to hold that for a second. There's a double rush. Actually, 4 members of DG all coming down that balcony in towards the armory wall, and Cryo's looking downstairs, waiting for anyone to come up. They don't have any vertical or any soft destruction really at all. I could use, I guess, thermite charge for it. The Lion EOD is going to be going out, and you can't vault over that half wall anymore. Surprise, surprise, Cryo. You're stuck between a rock and a hard place. The thermite charge coming out on the wall, trying to go for the bandit trick. Cryo is able to land it as he has cover from behind the half wall, lighting up Exo. The Lion, now the Nitro Cell going to go out. It's going to miss as it falls just short of 2 attackers. Now Candela's come rolling in, and Cryo, you still can't vault over that, my man. It's a new update. You can't vault. So he evades the Candelas, and Nip's going to drop down Euphoria as the Blitz comes rushing into small office. Sweater ducks throw. Cali trades out Yaga, and now Sweater taking down another one as Cryo will fall. It's down to the 2 anchors. Cali taking a lot of damage. He'll get finished off. Dot dash with the TK onto Nip, but Sweater with the 4K on the Blitz. Cali and Mailman fall, and DG take it in round number 20 on Border.
Oh, it's over. That was
It's over.
A super long overtime. Disrupt. Part of me is really glad that the last round was just as crazy as every round before it. And Disrupt, they fragged out. They fragged out hard, and especially EXO. 8,600 points, 24 kills.